one of his best hits about his love for her. You know, it's not a sexual love, but it's like, you're my best friend. You've been through it with me for all these years. Just a wonderful, seems like a wonderful person. I didn't know Freddie Mercury, but at least the music's wonderful, and can't recommend it enough. Moving on with the Cheese Fest, gotta have Gloria Estefan. Gloria Estefan and the Miami Sound Machine. A lot of times the Miami Sound Machine is left out of the title, but they are just as important. Their production is fantastic. Gloria Estefan has a wonderful voice. I think she's from Cuba, if I remember correctly. And she did not support the Cuban Revolution, which is a little sad, but she is a fantastic artist. And this album is got, you know, The Rhythm's Gonna Get You, Ain't That the Truth? And there is, I Can't Stay Away From You. Can't Stay Away From You is a good song, though I think that song for me and my what I've actually talked with friends about, I think Gloria Estefan probably survived some abusive relationships, and I think that's what Can't Stay Away From You is, a little bit Stockholm Syndrome-y, in my opinion. But it's a great song. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, I think she's survived some really hard stuff. Pat Benatar is more like, I'm going to kick your ass as a result, where she's like, this is just hard, I'm confused, and I can respect that perspective and that struggle. So she's got some kind of deep stuff in here as well, not just super cheesy pop songs. But those are here as well, and they're good stuff. Moving on, I think all we have left now is soundtracks. The 80s was a great decade for super cheesy soundtracks, and you can't go wrong with some of these. This has become one of my new top soundtracks in the 80s, surprisingly so. I don't think I've never seen this movie, and this cover didn't really, I don't know, but it was like $1, and I don't even know how I got this record, but I put it on and I quickly was like, oh my god, this is amazing. Mostly because it's got Olivia Newton-John, who's a hell of a voice, and Electric Light Orchestra was a hell of a composition. You put them together, you get a great album. Have to believe we are magic. Don't let them stand in your way. That's on here. So is a couple other really good songs. This is weird. I hate musicals. And this is a musical soundtrack. But for some reason it works. It works really well, and it's really well done. You'll definitely should be able to find this in your dollar bin. Nobody wants it, except for me, and maybe you someday. It's one soundtrack that, of course, everyone knows and loves. The Top Gun soundtrack. You can't go wrong with this. You got Berlin, Take My Breath Away, of course. You got Cheap Trick. You've got so many great bands. Yeah, even Kenny Loggins. Cheesy goodness. Playing with the Boys, Kenny Loggins. Oh my god. Awesome homoeroticism. It's a great track. Hot Summer Nights, Miami Sound Machine, again, fantastic. Destination Unknown, Marietta. I don't know her as an artist, but that track rules. And what else? The anthem is totally decent as well. Mighty Wings by Cheap Trick is fantastic. Every song on this album rules. Solid album. And super cheesy. You can't go wrong with it. Another classic album, Dirty Dancing. Dirty Dancing is an interesting mix of like 50s songs, really good selection of 50s songs, mind you, with super, super cheesy 80s pop songs. And of course, for me, that's a pretty great combination. You Don't Own Me is and Overload. You know, there's this like really, really cheesy 80s songs that I love. These are, you know, I can't defend them, but I love them. I've had the time of my life, of course, mixed with classics like "Be My Baby" by the Ronettes. I'm sorry, pronouncing that wrong. And I think "Hey Baby" is another one. That's "Love Is Strange" by Mickey and Sylvia. You know, there's these like great kind of 80s cheese fest, or sorry, 50s cheese mixed with 80s cheese. It's pretty great. Yes by Mary Clayton. You know, I mean, there's like these weird songs you've never heard of, but you put them on and you're gonna have a good time. This is a good time right here, and Yeah, you will dance. I don't know if it'll be dirty, but you'll dance. It'll be fun. Moving on from that, another just 3 in a row now. Fantastic album. Every song, and I mean every song on this album, freaking rules. This cover rules too. Beverly Hills Cop, great movie. Little unknown fact, it was originally going to star Sylvester Stallone. Eddie Murphy was brought in 2 weeks into production to save the movie. And boy, we all know how that turned out. Movie fucking rules. And this album rules. So many good songs. Actually, also a little unknown fact, the Pointer Sisters doing the Neutron Dance on here. That song, the Pointer Sisters were not a big hit. They're doing okay, and this album really helped propel them. That song was picked for the opening chase sequence in the movie because Warner Brothers didn't want to pay royalties to somebody else for a new, for a song that they didn't own already. They already owned the rights to the Pointer Sisters album that was doing okay, so they just included that song, and it became another huge hit for them and helped propel their career. So that's great. Pointer Sisters is great. That song actually is talking about poverty and pollution and stuff. Like, people don't get, there's actually a lot of lyrical depth to it, even though the whole chorus is I'm just burning, doing the Neutron Dance, and it's just like really fun. So great 80s pop on here. The Heat Is On. Oh my god, that song is so good. And of course, Axel Foley theme. There's so many good songs on here. You really can't go wrong with it. And yeah, I really like the cover. It's one of my favorite 80s covers, actually. New favorite soundtrack album, one of the new greatest ones, surprisingly good, is the Pretty Woman soundtrack. Surprisingly good. I know people are going to make fun of me for this one, but this launched the career of Julia Roberts, of course. Fantastic actress, and really, it's kind of sad that she had to pay her dues playing a sex worker. That's not uncommon, I think, for women in the 80s, having to do these like very exploitative roles to get, to get exposure and to get accepted as a mainstream artist, as an actor or actress. But Julia Roberts did that. More power to her. What's interesting about this album is it's actually kind of self-aware in that way, where it's aware of struggles of women and kind of has this a cool kind of new age, post-second wave feminist message in it, which is really cool, and it's really typified by the opening track, "Wild Women Do," and it's a super cheesy song, totally like women empowerment, just awesome song. And then of course you have David Bowie coming on the next track, "Fame," 90, which is the David Bowie song. "King of Wishful Thinking," "Go West," that's another 80s real classic. "Tangled" as well. "It Must Have Been Love" by Roxette, fantastic song. So this is a surprisingly good album. Totally in your dollar bin. Nobody wants it. Fantastic. Have a good time with that. So with that said, those are my 80s records. A lot of cheesy stuff. As I've mentioned, there is some depth to some of these, though. There's actually some, if you dive into the lyrics, there is some depth under the surface. And a lot of it there isn't. You're just having fun, doing the Neutron Dance. Well, that one has some depth, but there's so many good songs. The heat is on, it's on the streets, the heat is on. Who's Zooming Who, which is the whole like 80 Aretha Franklin one. So yeah, there's these really fun, poppy 80s albums out there. They're cheap. Nobody wants them, at least right now. Maybe they'll become more expensive. Of course, I have all the Michael Jackson stuff. I have the like really solid 80s classics. I have AC/DC, but this is the stuff that's not talked about very much and is fun and is such a good time. I love my 80s records just as much as my legitimate blues and jazz albums, as my really good hip-hop, really legitimate hip-hop records, as my 60s and 70s, folk and rock stuff as well. I think my 80s collection is just as important. I have just as much fun with it. And if you like this video, let me know, and I can make more videos like this about my other records in my collection. Maybe I could do one on 80s hip-hop. I have some really good 80s hip-hop, and the other genres that I mentioned. So yeah, feel free to let me know. I don't care if you like or subscribe or anything like that. I just made this video for fun, for the fans, because vinyl's cool and music is fun to talk about. So take care.